Clerk.
Government Business Social Security Administration Amendment Cashless Welfare Bill 2019 in Committee of the Whole.
So the committee is considering the Social Security Administration Amendment, Cashless Welfare Bill 2019. The question is that the bill stand as printed. Senator Seward.
Thank you. Can I just can I ask a question in terms of the timelines and the need for timing for the processes for both the wellbeing exemption and the exit application? In terms of timelines, how are you going to address the need for timely decisions?
So, Senator Seward, I'm assuming you're meaning the actual timeliness of yep. Okay. One of the things that is currently built into the process for the wellbeing exemption process is that we would seek to have somebody who had made application to have had that successfully processed within 6 to 8 weeks, and that would certainly be the kind of sort of criteria that we would be putting on the exemption process for the financial wellbeing criteria. But as we discussed earlier this morning, there are times when the complication of the process will mean that they are not always going to be able to meet those timelines, but they're certainly the kind of timelines that we've been meeting in the past and we will be seeking to meet in the future.
Senator Seward.
In terms then of the both the wellbeing and the exit provisions, they will approximately be the same time. Do I understand that correctly?
Minister.
Certainly that is our intention or our understanding. However, it may be because of, I suppose, potentially a simpler process in relation to the financial aspects as opposed to the wellbeing. It may be possible for it to be shorter, but certainly I wouldn't want to give an undertaking to this chamber that I'm unaware at this stage until we've gone through a few of the processes, but we certainly would be seeking for it to be no longer than the current wellbeing process.
Senator Seward.
Thank you. Is the guide, just my last question on that, is the guide going to outline that expected time frame? The guide we were talking about this morning.
Minister.
Look, certainly I can take on notice the intent of your question. One of the things that we would be seeking to do is obviously expedite the process in cases where it's very simple. So we wouldn't like to give the applicant the view that it's going to take 6 or 8 weeks when actually, in fact, it may be a much shorter time frame. But I'll take on notice the intent of your question in relation to providing the applicants with some sort of indicative idea of how long that the process may be expected to take.
Senator Seward.
I now move item 1 on sheet 8734 as it relates to exit criteria. As I articulated in my second reading contribution, the Greens are deeply concerned about the exit criteria. I appreciate the explanations of the answers to my questions I received from the Minister. However, we still remain very concerned about the broadness of the criteria, the way they may be interpreted, and we believe that the process should focus on the participants' capacity to manage their finances, which is clearly something that is able to be documented, where many of those other criteria aren't able to. I commend the amendments to the Senate.
So the question is that the amendment be agreed to. All those in favour say aye. Those against? No? The noes have it? The noes have it. Who's next? Senator Brown?
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy Chair. I would like to move opposition amendments on sheet 8730, and by leave I would like amendments 1 to 4 be taken together.
Is leave granted? Leave's granted, Senator Brown.
Thank you. This amendment would remove a provision that allows the ministers to specify other requirements a person must meet before being permitted to leave the cashless debit card, and replace it with a provision that allows the minister to specify more details about how exiting the requirements should be met. This is because Labor does not think the government should be able to make it harder for people to get off the card, particularly given the breadth of the existing requirements in relation to the management of financial affairs, protection of children and unlawful behaviour.
Minister?
Yeah, look, thank you very much, Senator. The reason for the provision that you're referring to in this amendment is that in the co-design with community leaders, we believe that it is appropriate as it currently exists, so that we can be flexible and responsive to community concerns and respond to them in a timely way.
It being 7:20, the committee will report progress. And then should I go up?